Maèxelawèn Osapèkwinùnt. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Brian Laundrie case a little bit. Of course, I want to be talking about the Brian Laundrie case, about the sighting, particularly on the AT, as well as the 911 call that all the people seem so convinced is so authentic. And I just want to point out some things that are apparent in those situations. But first, before I do all that, hear me out. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. Do you understand the rights I read to you? I'm assuming you said yes, because you can comprehend. With these rights in mind, do you wish to speak to me? Now, I wanted to start this video with that for a particular reason, okay? If you're getting interviewed by the police in this type of investigation, this is going to be the first thing they say to you. Now, yeah, granted, this may be the first thing they say to you when they cuff you up, but this is also going to be the first thing they say to you before they take down these long statements from you, okay? And just so people understand, because I know I'm dealing with a different generation out there. So again, please bear with me, and I will be getting directly to the topics I spoke of in the very beginning of this video. So just hang with me. I'm not going to run a big long video here today. These are your Miranda rights, and I got a big storm rolling in. You guys might get to witness that. And I kind of broke them down in a layman's term. And I know it sounds silly, but I want to try to speak to everybody. I want you to understand what it is I just said to you. So allow me to say it a little bit differently, okay? But it means the same thing. And allow me to start. You're allowed to talk to me. You're allowed to, but you're also allowed to keep your mouth shut. Okay? That's the first part. If you talk to me, I'll hold that, whatever you say, against you. Okay, that's the second part. Just because they say may in front of will, that's to defuse your brain, y'all. If what they're saying to you is if you talk, it will be held against you. That's what they're saying. Now, let me continue and translate the next part for you guys. We know that if you talk to us without an attorney, you're screwed. That's what it says. And then it follows up. It says, we know that so that we don't get in trouble for knowing that, we'll even offer you an attorney. Almost as if to say, you're pretty stupid if you don't take one, huh? Okay. Are you competent? That's the yes-no question. Do you understand English? Are you competent? That's what he's asking. And his final little statement, will you talk to me and let me use it against you? Okay. Now, I want you to realize, and I know that might have been a little stout or hard, but honestly, I did not change the meaning of the Miranda rights. I just read it to you in a more hillbilly, layman's way of speaking so that y'all can understand what it is they're saying to you, right? Because, hey, man, I don't talk lawyer either, okay? Don't hold that against you. Innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty, guys. That's my motto here on this channel. I don't know if I'm saying, oh, I'm a patriot. What I'm saying is I believe in the foundations of the law in our country. So if you're here to hear Brian's guilty, you will not hear that from me, because all men, women, United States citizens are innocent until proven guilty. So that's going to be my stand with that. And there's a strong reason why the social media is really hurting that with all your speculations, and that's a rant that we can get into. But I want to cover the 911 call and Tennessee. Tennessee, North Carolina border. Saturday morning, there was a 911 call. I have the call, but it's a 4-minute long call. I don't think you guys want to hear the 4 minutes. So, but just to tell you, I listened to it several times. On Saturday, he released his story several times before the official police call came in. I heard his story told more than once. And today, I finally heard the 911 call, the actual 911 call. And I want you guys to know, well, first of all, back roads. The word back roads was never said by this gentleman to the police. Now, every story you're hearing out there, every one of them are using the words back roads, directions on back roads. That was never said to the police. That was made up after the fact. Now, we're going to get to make-ups after the fact and what that says about an individual that tells the story. But that's in a minute. We'll get to that. He never said that. In fact, what he did say was that the dude was acting suspicious. He did say that the dude wanted to go to California and that he broke up with his girlfriend and that she called him and she loves him and he wants to go. He did say all that. He did say he thought the guy seemed a little distraught, although, to be honest with you, if you listen to the actual call, and it's several places on YouTube, guys, you can research that to keep this video length down. The entire call is there. It's about a 4-minute call. If you listen to this call, in the very beginning and as he's talking, I don't know if he sounds quite sober to me. I mean, just my honest opinion. I would have been leery of the call if I was dispatched, but we'll get into why I believe the police are not giving it as hard of attention as some think they should be. In the call, he mentioned all that. He mentioned that the guy wanted directions to California. Now here, and this is the exact quote. He wanted directions to California. The gentleman said, I-40 is right here. You can get on that and go to California. And the supposed Brian replied, no, I'm going to go up this way. And that was the last thing they said to one another. Everything about asking for directions on a back road, he never asked that. Never said he was asked that on the phone. He just asked him, according to the police call, what he said to the police. He asked me how to get to California. I told him I-40 was right there. He said, no, I'm going to go up this way, and he drove off. Okay? Everything else is a fabrication. Now, what's the fabrication tell you? Well, okay, you can tell me it's the fish story scenario, and I'll buy that, right? Because in his fish story, the very first fluctuation he made was his 99, 100%, right? Because in all his stories, he was 100%, and in the police call, he said he was 99.99. Now I know you're saying, Yankee, you're being hard on the guy, but really, it is a factor when analyzing the way this may be being used, okay? And that 1.01% does matter, and I'll tell you why. Because later in his story, he turned this guppy into a whopper. He went from a guy who asked for directions to California. I said I-40's there. He said no and drove off. Into, no, this guy was insistent. He didn't want to be on no interstate. He needed some back roadways to go. He told one story where he explained, I don't really know any back roads, and back roads in these other stories used a few times, okay? When you're willing to grow a whopper, the whopper don't stop. This is what cops know too, y'all. This is why when you talk to a cop about anything, don't exaggerate. Exaggerating can screw you. Just don't do it, okay? So I'm going to say he was just exaggerating. I don't know. But can I say that it screwed his credibility? Yes. Yeah, it did. His exaggerating fish story. And why did I bring up the 1%? Well, because if you're willing to create such a big fish story at the end, you would have changed that 1%. Even if you started out at 25%, you still would have made it 100%, in my opinion. You know, that's why the 1% don't matter, but does matter. I think it continues to show the psychological individual. In the call, listen to it all the way to the end. They have some trouble. They break up in the tunnel. But you can tell what they were talking about prior to the breakup, and you could tell by all of his responses that it is the first time he tells her, when he tells her for the first time, about what he wanted to do with directions to California. You can clearly tell, even though the call does break up because they're going through tunnels. Listen all the way to the end. And I swear, at the very end, you will find, probably like I did, as soon as the dispatch believed him and let him know she was going to pass on the information, his slow, alcoholic type talk changed. And he got happy. And he said, great, well, I can meet you. Okay, and she was like, all right, I'll pass along the information. And, and he's like, well, I can meet you. So, speculation, that's what this whole thing's about with everything. We all love to speculate innocent until proven guilty. Here in America is the law. But with the Brian case, of course, it's speculated that he's guilty, and everyone involved needs to prove their innocence. Prove your innocence. So, on that note, who knows about the story and the sighting on the AT, but those are the reasons I personally don't see the story as credible. And let's talk about that for a minute anyway. The pickup truck being involved in the sighting just kind of changes everything anyhow. It's one thing, and we talked about this in my last video, if you disappear on the Appalachian Trail, and it's possible, and if you guys hang with me later in the month, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to do a video with my buddy Ford, and we're going to talk about hiding. And you guys are going to be blown away what a person can and can't do. But aside from that, okay, now you're talking about hiding a truck too, okay? And that changes the playing field. You're not driving the truck into the trail. All right, that's not how it works. You wouldn't be able to. You're driving the truck on roads at access points to the trail. There may be back roads. There may be ditches you could try to shove the truck down if you never wanted it again. But to hide a truck and yourself, you change the whole playing field of this situation, and it doesn't play into logical sense. One more factor on that is the individual, again, with his 911 call. I just find it really strange that he could be so certain it's the guy. He spent time with the guy, but he never got the license plate number of the truck. I mean, all right, I get it. It's the first thing I would think of. I mean, what would you think of if you seen somebody in a truck and you were like, I know that's Brian? What's the first thing you would think of? Would you think of writing down the license plate number? Because at bare minimum, that's going to take him to somebody. Right? Even if it's Joe Schmo and Bum Egypt, it's still going to link him to somebody. Okay. Anyway. I did cover that. I will say hi to the chat really quick, guys. If you have any questions, please put a Q in front of the question. Save it here for another moment. I'm not going to run this chat really super long either. Now that I got through the situation with the 911 call and why I think that's a little bit over the top, I will point out real quick the danger of all this social media exposure. And look for a future video on this particular topic, because I'm going to do these in short live segments. But when you have a high profile on a nasty case, well, let me give you an example. Food for thought, and come on in and catch the next time I do a video on this particular topic. I want you to research the O.J. Simpson case. And I want you to also research the negative effect because of all the social world media's knowledge of the case. Okay. It's just a very interesting point, and I will bring that up in a future live show. I'm going to be ending this one again. If you missed the whole 911 thing, if you want to hear the actual call and you can't find it, tell me in the comment section. I will link it to you right there immediately. I have the call. 4 minutes long. I just didn't want to do that to the video. The guy talks like he's drunk or something, in my opinion. Every bald man is in danger. Listen, if you look like Brian, watch your butt, dude. You are guilty. until proven innocent. And don't be surprised a whole crowd jumps your ass and hangs you somewhere. Be careful. Right now, Brian has been seen everywhere. He's starting to be seen more than Elvis Presley. And that's scary because there's a lot of radical people out there. Every person who puts guilty in front of innocent is a radical. Everyone. And there's a lot of yous out there. I read your comments on, I know you're out there. Oh, mercy. Innocent till proven guilty. If you really care about people, please research the MMIW. The MMIW, and although, as I said many times in the past, condolences to the family members of both sides of Brian and Gabby. If you can take yourself out of the story for a minute and realize that you're talking about your kids, regardless of what's going on. I have my condolences for both parties, both families involved. But as money is being raised for this, I want just a plea, just to ask you if there's any way you see any of these videos, which I doubt, but a plea from me to you would be to please research the MMIW. If there's anyone that could use some type of funding to actually help, it is truly them, truly. But that I wanted to throw that in there. And I want to tell you guys another really quick thing, because this story, this headline is mastering the algorithm right now. And I talked more about this in my last videos. Please check it out. But in that blast from the algorithm, and you see Hila's head there, in the blast from the algorithm, it's getting, a lot of things are getting covered up, okay? And I'm going to prove that to you right now, because I'm going to say something to you that you haven't heard, all right? Yeah, I mean, I'm serious, and it just broke, and it's like major. See, we're all attached to the Brian and Gabby story in some emotional fashion, right? That's how it affects you in some way, emotionally. Here in America, every single one of you, and there's no, listen, this ain't, I know, don't get all crazy on me, this ain't left wing, right wing, this ain't none of that, this is some truth for you, the American people. I want you to research on your own, because this is what matters to you. And believe me, if Brian is captured while you are learning about what's happening to you personally, you'll know about it as soon as you get back online. I promise you will. I want you to research the Pandora Papers. Now, this is a very new breaking story. I know none of you have heard about it, and if you have, very few of you have heard about it. And honestly, this affects you in a country where the infrastructure is obviously so bad, with a deficit that's beyond belief. Could you imagine if there were American citizens who actually had more than enough money to cover the deficit and then some, but didn't even pay taxes on it? Please research the Pandora Papers and realize what is happening to you, and start to invest your cares about yourself in everyone, instead of just one unique individual case because you got a chance of your own 15 minutes of fame. All right. Any questions, guys? I'm going to take them, and I'm going to end this video. Like I said, I think I made the last one too long. I wanted to end it. So if you have any questions, please put them in there. If you're new to the channel, please check out some of my other content. We do a lot of things here on the channel, and we talk about a lot of topics, a wide variety of things. I share my lifestyle, and I share my creative side too. Like, I do a lot of things, so don't be surprised if there's something else you'd be interested in here on the channel. Okay, so let me get to the comment sections here real quick, and a big hi to everybody. Wolfgang, Dwayne, if you're still in there. And again, guys, I'm sorry, because I like to rattle through and then I reserve the last few minutes for the chat. Do what people do around here, hide in the cornfields. There you go, right? From the cops, there you go. it works, but it's kind of hard to to live in the cornfield if that's right. You're literally in the middle of it. Good God, you imagine how you gonna make your fires up in there, right? Every little spark catch the whole field on fire. Right now, anyway, because these cornfields are completely brown around here. Dog will get him, guys. I don't know. Personally, again, the type of media that people like Dog brings to this can really affect the outcome of the case. Look at how many, and I'm going to do a whole video about this in the near future. And if no questions come in by the time I'm done with this little statement, I'm going to end. So, like I said, please ask questions, ask the comment section later. That's fine. But just think for a moment how many people in the entire world had O.J. Simpson plagued and guilty, but yet he ended up being found not guilty of the murder, and they had to go a whole different way even to try to arrest. And now, like I said, I'm going to give you a that might sound like a weird comparison, or many of you might not even know about the case. The more and more I talk about stuff, I kind of forget how old I am. And if you don't know about the case, research it a little bit. And I'm going to point out in a video to come the comparisons and how all this negative social media that's out there, all of the people, how many channels you can find that start off with saying he is guilty, and guys, you don't know that, but find out how all that type of media can really hurt and defile a court case when it comes to selecting jurors and giving fair trial and getting hung trials. And find out, research yourself, because that's why the story is really taken on way too much, and we need to get that algorithm back up on something else, because it's not good. All right, guys, I don't see any questions coming in, so until our trails meet again, I hope all your adventures are awesome. If you got any rebuttals, anything of the sort, please feel free to say it in the comment section. I answer all my comments. Thank you, Wolfgang. And also, I know I'm just, as I'm backing out because I'm leaving, I'm going to leave you on one more slide little note. I know a lot of people really pick Dog as a role model, but honestly, know and understand the person and research the person before you show so much love, because, not everything is what it seems. Much love. Catch you guys next time.